From the right angle weave patterns, I bring today for you this beautiful bracelet. The base is a right angle weave strip made with pearls and then embellished with bicones. Keep watching to learn how to make it. The base of our bracelet is a strip made with 6mm pearls. You can use other sizes of pearls, but keep in mind you have to change the number of seed beads for the top embellishment and the size of the bicone also. The top embellishment is made with 11/0 seed beads. In two colors. As a top embellishment, I have used a 6mm bicone as well. I use for clasp, as you know by now, a combination of split ring, jump ring, and lobster clasp. And obviously you can use magnetic clasp if you prefer. So we have two ways of making our bracelet. First, we can make the base in the length that we need for our bracelet and then come with the top embellishment, or work each right angle weave unit, then embellish the top immediately and then come up with the other one connecting to the first one. It's really up to your own preference how you make it. I am going to work with the second method, the component-based one, as I think it allows you as a designer more flexibility and you can easier change some components as you go, the colors or maybe the type of the beads. I must say that the design was inspired by Sabine Lippard's Be Still My Heart bracelet. And let's start beading. We start with our first right angle weave unit, and we will pick up a sequence of 11/0 seed bead, pearl, 6mm pearl, seed bead. So this is the sequence we repeat 4 times. What I like about this design is that for the first time I am able to use big pearls, and I am not concerned about the fact that there are gaps in between the beads when we make the right angle weave circle, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So here we have our sequences put together. And now we tie a knot. Okay. And this is what I was telling you about. Even if the beads are quite big, there are no gaps. You can't see the thread in between, and this is an idea that I have seen in Sabine Lippard's design. And now I go around and reinforce this unit. You would need to do this with each and every unit because the beads are quite big and heavy-ish. So you must make sure that the work is stable and strong. And now you go out through one of the pearls, and here we have our first unit ready to go for the next step. Around one of the pearls I will prepare the loop for the clasp, and for this I pick up 7 seed beads, 2, 4, 6, 7, and if the thread comes out like this, I go back through the pearl from the opposite side, and don't forget, as I was just going to forget, to pick up the split ring, the ring without any cut in the process, because that is the one where the clasp will attach. And this loop is very important. It's going to have a lot of wear and tear, so we reinforce it a few times. And when you are happy, at least 3 or 4 times, you reinforce this loop. Now we are ready to continue with our design for our right angle weave unit. For our first row of embellishment, we make sure that the thread comes out of the last seed bead in the group of 2 in between the pearls, and we pick up 3 seed beads in one color, 1 in the second color, and then again 3 seed beads. And with this we create a loop over the pearl and go through the next group of 2 seed beads. We make sure that the thread has a tight tension, and we continue doing this around the unit. So 3 one color, second color 1 seed bead, 3 one color, and go through the next group of 2. Okay, with tight tension on the thread. 1, 2, 3 color 1, 1 seed bead of the second color, and then again 3, and go through the next 2. And here we bead the last 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1, 2, and 3, and go through the first group of 2. And here is our component at the end of the first row of the embellishment, when we actually add these loops. Now is the time to add one of our bicones, and here you need to make a decision on the position of the bicone relative to the clasp. So if you want your bicone to run like this along the bracelet, and this is exactly how I've decided for mine, or you can decide to be perpendicular on the on the length of the bracelet. It's really up to you. Let's try a perpendicular now. So depending on this, you have to position your thread in the top bead of that position. So if I want to go across, I will have the thread coming out from this seed bead, pick up my bicone, go through the opposite seed bead like this, and then back through the bicone. Back through the bicone, and then through the first seed bead from the opposite way, so we create a circle. And now we make sure that the tension of the thread is good, and we go back and reinforce. We do this because the bicone is quite big, and we must make sure that is safe in place. Okay, and now we come out the first seed bead, and this is our unit after we have added the bicone. Now let's work together the last row of the embellishment. And for this, with the thread coming out of the top bead, we pick up 3 seed beads and we connect with the top bead from the next loop. And we push the loop up and again pick up 3, go through the second bead from the bicone, 3 seed beads, again through the next top bead of the next loop, and again 3 seed beads, and the bead from the end of the bicone. We pull our thread and we go back and reinforce this last row that connects the top beads of the loops. At every step you control the shape of the component and the thread tension. This would be the third, and the last one. And the last loop. And now we move the thread through one of the loops to the base right angle weave, and we reinforce once again through the initial row. This is a heavy bracelet, and better to be safe than sorry. Okay, and now we have a look, and we have to position our threads in such a way that is opposite where we have the clasp. So we continue with connecting the next component. So for this we move the thread in this bead, and we continue with adding the second component. Let's add our second component. We consider this as being the first the first pearl of the right angle weave unit, and we need to add one seed bead on its side. Now we add 3 components of the seed bead, pearl seed bead. 3 components, 3 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we finish the sequence for the connector bead, for the connector pearl, with adding 1 seed bead for that. And here we have recreated again the right angle weave unit as in the first step. We reinforce, and now with the thread coming out of the last seed bead from the cluster of 2 in between the pearls, we start our row of embellishment. So with the loops 3, 1, 3, and go through the next set of 2. Control the tension. 3, 1, 3, go through the next one over the next pearl, control the tension, 1 more loop, next set of 2, and here we have the last loop to add. 1, 2, and 3, and we go through the 2 seed beads. Now we have to make sure we position the thread at the top bead. That makes our bicone to sit exactly in the same position as in the previous component. Of course, you can decide to have it the other way if this is your designer decision. But just to make you aware that if you want to use the similarity, you need to take care of this. Now we move the thread at the top bead of the loop, pick up the bicone, go through the opposite top bead in the loop, go back through the bicone, and close the circle by going in the first seed bead from the opposite direction. And now just reinforce. And with the thread coming out of the first top seed bead, we can create the final row of loops. So we pick up 3 seed beads, go through the top seed bead in the next loop, help the seed bead a little to sit up, good tension in the thread, 3 seed beads, 3 seed beads again, and here we have the last one. And we reinforce around this last row of loops. Then we move the thread to the base unit and go around with a second thread of reinforcement. I find it easier to do it from the back of the bracelet. Okay, and we position the thread out of the pearl that is opposite the clasp, and we continue creating the length that you need by adding this second. We continue to create the length of the bracelet we need by adding this second component in the manner I have just showed you. Let's assume that you have finished your needed length, and let's see how we make the second part of the clasp. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for this you pick up 7 seed beads, pick up the split ring, close the circle, and reinforce around this loop. At least 3-4 times. When you have finished reinforcing, you just weaving the thread through the last right angle weave unit, and you make a few knots against the thread and then weave in and cut. This is a mini bracelet, obviously. And now you pick up the pliers. Let's see how we add the clasp. So you position your split ring in one of the pliers, open, go through the split ring, and pick up the clasp and close. And here you are. If you want, you can add another split ring. Now depends on the length that you need. If not, the ring you already have attached can act as the second part of the clasp. The bracelet is very nice. It has a curvature. It lies on around the wrist in a very nice and natural way. So I hope you like it, and see you around with the next tutorial. Don't forget to check the playlist for some more Christmas designs, but not only Christmas, obviously, but this is part of my Christmas 2020 collection. Thank you again for watching. See you soon.